All right, dive in with us, because after 9 absolutely wild episodes, we are now firmly entrenched in the captivating, often chaotic world of Riverdale.
Definitely deep in it now.
Yeah. Our mission today is to go deep, really deep, into Chapter 10, The Lost Weekend. We're going to peel back every layer of this pivotal episode, analyzing how the pieces are moving on the board, and crucially, trying to predict how these high-stakes plot lines are going to wrap up in these final 3 episodes of Season 1.
What's truly striking about The Lost Weekend is how it doesn't just amplify existing tensions, It meticulously plants critical new clues,
Right.
shifting our understanding of nearly every major character and their connection to the central mystery. It's a masterclass in escalating the drama and raising really important questions as we hurtle towards that season finale.
It feels like this episode finally says, okay, no more simmering, it's time to boil.
Exactly. The pressure cooker is on high.
Our deep dive today is based directly on the script for episode 10, full of every line of dialogue and action that reveals those character motivations and critical plot developments.
Yeah, the script gives us so much texture.
And the big picture here is undeniable. The Lost Weekend takes so many of those key plot lines: Jason's murder, Hiram Lodge's legal woes, the ever-shifting alliances and relationships, and a veritable mountain of character secrets,
It's a lot.
and brings them to a dramatic, almost frantic boiling point. It sets a stage for the conclusion of the season that makes you wonder just how much more Riverdale can possibly throw at us.
It's more than just a boiling point. It feels like the town's carefully maintained facade is finally cracking under the pressure. The characters are being forced to confront uncomfortable truths, not just about their friends and neighbors, but about their own families and identities.
Yeah.
The intricate web of Riverdale's secrets begins to unravel here, not just hinting at larger conspiracies, but actively pushing characters into positions where they have to make difficult, often dangerous choices. The stakes, clearly, have never been higher.
So let's start where a lot of Riverdale's inherent darkness resides, with the absolute bombshells dropped concerning the Lodge and Blossom families.
Yeah, this is huge.
Because this is where the season's overarching mystery really begins to solidify, moving beyond speculation to concrete, albeit disturbing, revelations.
That's right. While we've always understood these two powerful families were at odds, this episode unequivocally clarifies that their conflict runs far, far deeper than just simple rivalries or business competition.
Oh, yeah.
It's an almost historical, foundational animosity,
Yeah.
like baked into the town itself.
Exactly. We open with Hiram Lodge's attorney, Paul Sowerberry, actively pushing Veronica and Hermione to give statements. The goal is transparent: humanize Hiram, smooth over his criminal actions, and hopefully reduce his sentence.
Standard legal playbook, right? Make him look sympathetic.
Right. But Veronica, still reeling from her father's criminal reveal, initially refuses, stating quite firmly, "I'm not giving one. Not one you'd want." She's grappling with loyalty versus a desire for truth.
Which is totally understandable. How can she vouch for him now?
But then, as it always does in Riverdale, things take a very unexpected turn.
What's truly incisive here is that the first major crack in the Lodge narrative doesn't come from an official source, but from a whisper, a piece of overheard conversation.
Right. It's Archie.
Archie, of all people, reveals that he heard Mr. Blossom explicitly saying he was responsible for Hiram's arrest.
Boom.
This isn't just gossip, it immediately elevates the stakes. The real insight here isn't just that Hiram might be framed, but that Riverdale's supposed pillars of society, the Lodges and Blossoms, have been locked in a generations-long, almost feudal arrangement.
Yeah, feudal's a good word for it.
This 75-year payment scheme, which Veronica soon uncovers, reveals that the town's history isn't just dramatic. It's built on a foundation of inescapable, inherited obligations and weaponized business dealings, where justice is simply another battleground for power, not an impartial arbiter.
Veronica, true to her nature, isn't one to let a rumor sit. She digs, and what she finds is a bombshell. A spreadsheet showing significant monthly payments. From Blossom Maple Farms to Lodge Industries, spanning an astonishing 75 years.
75 years.
And then they suddenly ceased 5 months ago, perfectly aligning with Hiram's arrest. That detail, 75 years, that's not just a business deal, is it? What does that time frame imply about the true nature of this arrangement and its potential impact on the present?
Well, that 75-year timeline transforms this from a mere business dispute into an ancestral curse, almost.
Right.
It suggests a long-standing, perhaps even coercive relationship, where the Blossoms were essentially subsidizing or paying off the lodges for decades.
Paying them off for what, though?
It could be hush money for some past transgression, an inherited debt, or maybe a way for the Blossoms to maintain dominance over lodge industries through financial control. Who knows? But the sudden halt of payments isn't just a coincidence. It's the severing of a deep, complicated artery. And it makes Clifford Blossom's involvement in Hiram's arrest look less like moral outrage.
Yeah, much less.
And more like a calculated move to break free from this generations-long financial burden.
And Veronica's deduction is razor sharp. She theorizes that Clifford might have orchestrated Hiram's imprisonment specifically to cease these massive, long-standing payments.
Makes perfect sense.
Totally. This isn't just about her dad's legal troubles anymore. It's a profound shift in the entire context of Hiram's situation, transforming it from a simple fraud case into a potentially complex revenge plot or a desperate maneuver to cut ties.
Exactly.
In what was clearly a deeply intertwined, almost parasitic financial relationship.
Exactly. This recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about Hiram's legal troubles. It implies that Riverdale's underlying power dynamics are far more Machiavellian than they appear on the surface. The why behind these payments and their sudden cessation screams of a generations-long animosity or intricate, perhaps morally dubious business dealing between these two powerful families.
Definitely dubious.
This raises a crucial question. Is Hiram simply being framed? Or is he a victim of a very old, very dangerous game that just reached its bloody climax with Jason's murder?
And then Hermione, in a chilling, almost desperate moment, warns Veronica to let this go.
Yeah, that was intense.
She explicitly says that if Clifford orchestrated the arrest, it could make Hiram look like a murder suspect for Jason Blossom. She underlines the danger, telling Veronica, please God, do not bring the Blossoms into this, and that includes Cheryl.
Oof. Especially Cheryl.
It's a very pointed and ominous warning that highlights the true depth of the danger these two families represent to each other.
Hermione's warning isn't just maternal concern, is it? It's a stark revelation of the potential consequences.
No way.
She understands the generational animosity between the Lodges and Blossoms better than Veronica, and her fear suggests a deep familiarity with the dangerous games they play.
She knows things.
Her plea to let this go underscores that getting involved could mean not just legal trouble, but a direct link to Jason's murder, implying she knows or suspects something far more sinister about the rivalry. This confirms our earlier insight about Riverdale's history being built on inescapable, inherited obligations.
Now, if you thought Hermione was simply an innocent victim in all of this, well, this episode throws a massive curveball.
Oh yeah, the letter.
Hiram's letter arrives from prison, and it's an absolute bombshell. He directly threatens Hermione if Veronica doesn't testify on his behalf. But the most disturbing part is the line, she is not nearly as innocent as you believe.
Chilling. That single line immediately casts a profound shadow of doubt on Hermione's supposed innocence. It's a classic Hiram move, revealing a strategic, cold-blooded understanding of the leverage he holds. It suggests a deeper complicity or a hidden past that Hiram is privy to, giving him immense power over Hermione.
Which means?
It forces us, as viewers, to reevaluate every one of Hermione's options and motivations since she arrived in Riverdale, making us question if she's a pawn, a player, or maybe both in this complex, dangerous game.
What really struck me rereading this is how Veronica's inner world is just crumbling. Her emotional confession to Archie, expressing that desperate hope her mom isn't guilty, and her fear of discovering even more lies. It's heartbreakingly raw, isn't it?
Totally raw. She's desperate.
She's clinging to this fragile idea of her mother's goodness. And even when she directly questions Smithers, their loyal butler, about Hermione's character, Smithers unequivocally states Hermione is unequivocally good. But you have to wonder, can Smithers truly be an objective source here?
Well, he's loyal, right?
Is he genuinely convinced, or is he protecting his employer? Or even simply oblivious to the full scope of the Lodge family's dealings?
It creates a fascinating internal conflict for Veronica, tearing her between a burning desire for the unvarnished truth and a desperate, almost childlike need to believe in her family's inherent goodness.
Yeah.
Smithers' staunch defense, while seemingly reassuring, almost feels too perfect, given the chaos erupting around the Lodge family.
A little too convenient.
It suggests a carefully curated image, or perhaps Smithers himself is caught in a web of loyalty where truth takes a back seat. This highlights how deeply the lies and deceptions run within Riverdale's elite.
Ultimately, despite her gnawing doubts, Veronica chooses to testify, publicly stating her belief in her mom.
She toes the line. For now.
But then a later revelation to Betty shows just how much her perspective has shifted and how her trust is eroding. Veronica explicitly tells Betty that Hiram hired F.P. Jones to trash the drive-in.
Okay, connecting those dots now.
And then she speculates, and this is where it gets chilling. And given recent events, it's not inconceivable that he might have hired him to do other jobs.
Uh-oh.
Like go after Jason as payback for what the Blossoms did to him.
Wow, that's a huge leap, but
Right.
plausible in Riverdale.
Right. This solidifies Veronica's new, dangerous mission. I want the truth, whatever it is. This isn't just about good versus bad anymore. Hiram's letter throws Hermione into the spotlight, making us wonder about her true role and complicity. And Veronica's quest for truth, fueled by this, is a powerful new trajectory for her character.
This is a critical turning point for Veronica's character development. Her shift from wanting to protect her family's image at all costs to actively seeking the unvarnished truth, even if it implicates her own parents in a murder, signifies a profound maturation.
It really does.
This directly connects the Lodge Blossom financial feud to Jason's murder, making F.P. Jones a central, potentially incriminating figure in the overarching mystery. Her statement, whatever it is, marks her willingness to confront the ugliest realities, no matter the personal cost.
So as we head into these final 3 episodes, the predictions around this dynamic are absolutely huge. Could this 75-year payment scheme between the Blossoms and the Lodges actually be the ultimate motive for Jason's murder?
Could it? It feels like the most likely motive at this point.
Is it about sheer money, power, or something far deeper and more personal, spanning generations?
That's not just a possibility. It's quickly becoming the most compelling motive. A financial arrangement of that longevity and magnitude suggests either a secret, symbiotic alliance or a deeply rooted historical obligation.
Right.
If one party wanted out and the other refused to let them, it could easily escalate to murder. We could be looking at generations of suppressed animosity, a blood money type of arrangement, or even a struggle over an inherited secret.
So Jason's death could be.
The violent breaking point in a conflict that predates any of the current characters. Absolutely.
And what about Hermione's fate? Will Hiram's threats against her materialize? What secrets does she truly hold? And will they finally be revealed, perhaps by Hiram himself to save his own skin?
Or by Veronica.
Or by Veronica in her relentless pursuit of truth.
Given Hiram's ruthless nature, his threats are almost certainly not idle. Hermione's past, and whatever secret Hiram believes she holds, could be exposed, further complicating not just her life, but the entire Lodge family standing in Riverdale.
Yeah, she's in a really tight spot.
This places her in an incredibly precarious position, a potentially tragic figure caught between 2 powerful, dangerous men, her husband and Clifford Blossom, each capable of destroying her. Her choices in these final episodes will define her, revealing if she's truly innocent or a complicit player.
And finally, how will Veronica's fierce determination to uncover the truth about her parents and their potential connection to Jason's murder via FP impact the investigation?
Huge impact potential.
Will her findings be the pivotal piece in identifying the killer, perhaps even at the cost of her own family's reputation?
Veronica's access to both internal family secrets and the financial records gives her a unique, almost unparalleled advantage. If she can connect the dots between the Blossom Lodge payments, Hiram's motivations for leveraging FP and FP's other jobs, her findings could absolutely be the key that unlocks the entire mystery.
So she could blow the whole thing open.
This trajectory suggests she will become an indispensable, albeit highly volatile force in solving Jason's murder, potentially leading to a complete dismantling of the Lodge family's power structure.
So while the Lodges and Blossoms are locked in this high-stakes generational chess game of corruption and accusation, we pivot to a different kind of deeply personal battleground. Jughead's Lost Weekend.
Ah, Jughead, yeah.
This episode peels back the layers of his cynicism, revealing that even in Riverdale, the most profound secrets aren't always about murder or money, but about the invisible wounds of family trauma.
This is such a poignant arc for Jughead. It offers crucial insights into the deep-seated trauma that profoundly shapes his present reactions and defines his character.
Totally.
His inherent aversion to pretense, his lone wolf identity, all of it stems from a deeply troubled past. and this episode lays it bare.
It starts innocently enough with Jughead's long-standing tradition of a double feature at the Bijou with Archie.
Oh, the bijou.
It seems like a simple, endearing habit, but it masks far deeper issues that FP himself confirms.
Yeah, FP lays it out pretty bluntly.
FP explicitly states that Jughead has never even had a party, never wanted one, solidifying his son's lifelong aversion to birthdays and reinforcing his lone wolf identity. FP even goes so far as to say the best gift he could give Jughead would be to stay away, which just underscores their profoundly strained, almost broken relationship.
Ouch. That's rough. But it provides crucial, heartbreaking context for Jughead's character, explaining his consistent need for distance and his cynicism.
Definitely.
His father's admission highlights the depth of their dysfunction, suggesting a history of abandonment, disappointment, and emotional chaos that has forged Jughead's solitary nature and his deep-seated resistance to any form of celebration or forced normalcy.
Yeah, you really feel that.
For him, birthdays aren't about joy. They're about the crushing weight of unspoken family truths and the pretense that things are okay when they absolutely are not.
And then comes Jughead's raw, vulnerable confession to Betty. He admits that birthdays trigger PTSD from when I was a kid.
That was a huge moment.
He explains, quite heartbreakingly, that things were always messed up at home, usually because of my dad, and that this arbitrary day of pretending things were normal amidst the chaos made him feel really lonely. It's a moment of profound emotional honesty that resonates deeply.
That confession is a stark, almost brutal revelation of the emotional baggage Jughead carries, and it's a testament to his trust in Betty that he shares it.
Absolutely.
It precisely explains his cynicism, his resistance to vulnerability, and his self-imposed isolation. Birthdays became a symbol of forced happiness and painful pretense rather than genuine celebration. It's a key to understanding why Betty's well-meaning party,
Oh, Betty.
despite her best intentions, completely misses the mark and instead triggers deep-seated emotional pain. His need for authenticity is paramount.
Betty, with her earnest desire to do something special for him by throwing a surprise party, inadvertently clashes head-on with these deep-seated issues.
Yeah, good intentions, terrible execution for him.
It's the classic road to hell is paved with good intentions scenario, a quote Jughead himself uses to perfectly encapsulate his feelings about the party. It's a moment that highlights the fundamental disconnect between their two worlds.
It's a poignant illustration of how love and good intentions aren't always enough if you don't fully understand the person you're trying to help, or if you project your own needs onto them. Betty's desire to fix Jughead or assimilate him into her vision of normalcy, while sweet and well-meaning, completely overlooks his profound need for authenticity and his history of finding solace in solitude.
She wants her kind of party.
She's trying to give him her idea of a good birthday, not his.
Now, shifting to Betty, her own darkness is a major recurring theme that really comes to the forefront this episode.
Yes, Dark Betty makes a comeback.
Alice Cooper, now the blue and gold advisor, and the irony is not lost on us, advises Betty not to share everything with Jughead, citing her own experience with Hal using her secrets, fears, doubts against her.
Ooh, interesting insight into Alice and Hal.
This immediately foreshadows Betty's own struggles and what's to come, hinting at a much more complex history for Alice herself.
Alice's warning is a significant, almost chilling moment, not just for Betty, but for our understanding of the deeply troubled Cooper family dynamics.
Definitely.
It implies a deeply painful past for Alice, suggesting that her own secrets, fears, doubts are far more complex and potentially damaging than previously imagined, and that she sees a similar vulnerability, a similar darkness emerging in Betty.
Like mother, like daughter.
This raises an important question. What exactly are Alice's own hidden secrets, and how have they shaped her present-day manipulations and fears for her daughter?
And then the unsettling encounter with Chuck.
Ugh, Chuck.
Where he explicitly references Betty's dark Betty persona, making her visibly uncomfortable. But it's during Cheryl's twisted secrets and sins game where Chuck unleashes a public revelation that is incredibly impactful.
Yeah, he goes nuclear.
He details Betty's actions, dressing like a hooker, wearing a black wig, drugging and handcuffing him, making him confess, and her delusion of being Polly.
Every sordid detail.
He even explicitly implicates Jughead in knowing about it.
This public expose is absolutely devastating for Betty. It's a complete stripping away of her carefully constructed image of the perfect girl next door.
Gone. Just like that, and exposes her deepest, most troubling vulnerabilities and indeed her violent impulses to the entire town. Chuck's malicious intent perfectly weaponizes Betty's past trauma and mental health struggles.
It's brutal.
The detail about her delusion of being Polly highlights the profound psychological pressure she's under, and the implication that Jughead knew, and perhaps condoned, adds another layer of public judgment and shame. It's a shattering moment for her. What makes this so compelling is Betty's confession to Jughead after the party. It's incredibly vulnerable, almost painful to hear.
Yeah, that was powerful.
She admits that something is very, very wrong with me, describing a darkness that is overwhelming sometimes, making her do crazy things. She directly links this to the Chuck incident, revealing her fear and confusion.
Just honesty.
Betty's struggle with her darkness is a recurring theme, but this episode brings it to the forefront in a very public and painful way. Her confession to Jughead is huge, revealing her vulnerability and fear of being truly seen for these intense aspects of her personality. So what does this all mean for her going forward?
Her confession to Jughead is a crucial step towards self-acceptance, but it's also a profound test of their relationship.
Big time.
It demonstrates the immense internal conflict she's experiencing and her desperate need for understanding rather than judgment. It strongly suggests that this darkness is not just a passing phase, but a significant, perhaps even inherent aspect of her psychological makeup.
Right, maybe it's part of who she is.
Possibly linked directly to her Cooper family history, particularly Alice's own hidden past. This public exposure forces Betty to confront this part of herself head-on, meaning she can no longer pretend it doesn't exist.
This brings us to the Bughead relationship, which Jughead describes as being on borrowed time.
Yeah, he's really pushing her away here.
He constantly insists that he's a weirdo, a loner, outsider from the wrong side of the tracks, not normal, and definitely not a project.
Classic Jughead defense mechanism.
His self-perception clashes directly with Betty's perfect girl-next-door image, creating a seemingly insurmountable chasm between them.
His self-deprecating labels and his insistence on his outsider status are classic defense mechanisms. He's anticipating rejection and actively pushing people away before they can hurt him, a direct result of his childhood trauma.
Makes sense.
He genuinely believes his identity as an outsider makes him fundamentally incompatible with Betty's seemingly perfect North Side world, reflecting his deep-seated insecurities about belonging and being truly loved for who he is, not who someone wants him to be.
He expresses a very real fear that Betty will eventually get sick of slumming it with me, or that Archie will change his mind and say he wants to be with you.
Oh, the Archie fear, too.
Betty, desperate, asserts that Jughead is her boyfriend, not a project, and expresses her genuine confusion over his push-pull dynamic.
She's trying so hard.
But eventually, in a moment of fragile breakthrough, Jughead softens, acknowledging Betty's good intentions and confessing his fear of getting hurt or being rejected. It's a moment of raw emotional honesty, but it's still incredibly fragile, isn't it?
That moment of vulnerability from Jughead, while brief, is a cornerstone of their burgeoning relationship. It shows that beneath his cynical, guarded exterior, he deeply fears emotional exposure and abandonment.
Yeah.
Betty's unwavering willingness to listen, her continued affection, and her refusal to give up on him in the face of his self-sabotage are what draw him back.
She doesn't give up.
It offers a glimpse of a genuine connection built on understanding and acceptance, rather than superficiality or a desire to fix each other. It's a real test of whether love can truly conquer deep-seated trauma.
So, for the final 3 episodes, how will Betty's darkness play out? Will it be a liability, making her an easy target or suspect in uncovering Jason's killer?
Could be.
Or could it become an unexpected asset, allowing her to tap into a more ruthless, perhaps even reckless side to find answers? And how might her family's secrets, particularly Alice's past, tie into this inner struggle?
The darkness is undoubtedly a double-edged sword for Betty. It could easily be exploited by the killer or used by others to discredit her or manipulate her.
Right.
However, this same intensity and willingness to delve into the ugly truths also gives Betty a unique capacity for uncovering the darker secrets of Riverdale. It could make her a formidable, albeit unstable, force in the investigation. Connecting it to Alice's past is almost inevitable, as psychological patterns and unresolved traumas often run in families, suggesting a deeper generational struggle within the Cooper women. It raises the possibility that this darkness is an inherited trait, not just a personal affliction.
And what about Bughead's future? Can their relationship truly survive these profound differences and the very public revelations, particularly about Betty's struggles?
It's definitely on shaky ground.
Will Jughead's fear of rejection ultimately push him further away, forcing him back into his solitary shell? Or will Betty's deep understanding and acceptance finally draw him closer, showing him that he can indeed be loved for who he is?
Their relationship is certainly facing its most significant test yet. For it to endure, Jughead needs to fully embrace vulnerability, which is incredibly difficult for him.
Yeah, really difficult.
And Betty needs to learn to respect his boundaries and unique personality without trying to change him. The public revelations, while painful and humiliating, have also forced them to confront their compatibility head-on, allowing for a more authentic, if messier, bond to form if they navigate it successfully. Their future hinges on mutual acceptance.
Finally, with his father's deepening involvement in the murder mystery, how will Jughead navigate his own identity and place in Riverdale as the mystery unfolds?
That's the million-dollar question for Jughead.
Will he be pulled into the serpent world, finding a new sense of belonging in a potentially dangerous community? Or will he find a way to forge his own path, independent of both his father's past and Betty's world?
Jughead's identity is intrinsically linked to his family, particularly his father and his Southside heritage. FP's deepening involvement in the murder mystery forces Jughead to confront his heritage and his place in the South Side.
No escaping it now.
His choices in these remaining episodes will define whether he succumbs to the chaos of his past, fully embracing the serpent life, or strives to establish a new sense of order and identity for himself, perhaps becoming a bridge between the two worlds, or an even stronger, more independent voice.
Speaking of chaos and long-held secrets, Jughead's party, meant to be a quiet celebration, explodes into absolute anarchy,
Total mayhem.
thanks to an unholy alliance. It's a public airing of Riverdale's dirty laundry, orchestrated by two characters with very personal axes to grind: Cheryl Blossom and the returning Chuck Clayton.
This alliance is pure, weaponized chaos, fueled by deep-seated feelings of public humiliation and a burning desire to regain control or lash out.
Definitely.
It's a quintessential Riverdale move, taking intensely personal grievances and blowing them up in a very public, dramatic, and destructive way. They're not just ruining a party, they're unraveling the social fabric of the entire student body.
It's all set up by Cheryl's very public humiliation, which is a classic Cheryl move. She loses her leadership of the River Vixens to Veronica after a Democratic vote, no less.
Ouch. That's got a sting for Cheryl.
And in a fit of pure vixen vengeance, she dramatically fires the entire squad, calling them catatonic bimbos and stuttering sapheads.
Uh-huh.
Only Cheryl.
Honestly, it's peak Cheryl, almost comical in its vitriol, but underneath that, it's a clear signal someone is going to pay. And Riverdale knows a vengeful blossom is a force of nature. This moment of public dethroning ignites her desire for absolute destruction.
Cheryl's need for control, status, and adoration is paramount. Losing the Vixens, her primary source of power and identity within the school, pushes her to an extreme, almost theatrical reaction. Her dramatic public lashing out isn't just a fit of pique. It's a calculated attempt to inflict similar pain on others, mirroring the humiliation she feels. She thrives on being the center of attention, even if that attention is negative, and her desire for destruction becomes the driving force behind the party's eventual derailment.
And then Chuck Clayton, who we all thought was gone for good after the shaming incident, makes his return.
Just when you thought it was safe. He offers a fake apology to Ethel, which Betty immediately distrusts, and rightly so. His motivation is clearly payback after being suspended from the football team and losing his college prospects. He's back, and he's not forgiving or forgetting.
Chuck's return signifies the cyclical nature of revenge and unresolved grievances in Riverdale. He views himself as a victim of Betty and Veronica's actions, and he's not one to let a slight go unpunished.
Nope.
His apology is merely a transparent front for his deeper, more insidious agenda to publicly dismantle the reputations of those he believes wronged him, particularly Betty. He's looking for maximum collateral damage.
So, of course, Cheryl and Chuck explicitly team up to ruin Jughead's party.
A match made in,
Well, Riverdale.
they bring kegs, invite the entire school, transforming it into what Jughead himself, with his signature cynicism, calls a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah, accurate.
It's a deliberate, coordinated act of sabotage, designed not just to crash a party, but to create maximum chaos and public exposure. It's a perfect storm of two characters, each nursing a profound sense of public humiliation, seeking to reclaim their power and inflict suffering on those they feel wronged them. Their joint effort escalates a private birthday gathering into a full-blown public spectacle, creating an environment ripe for confrontation and the airing of every festering grievance in Riverdale. They're both skilled manipulators, and this alliance showcases their combined destructive potential.
And that leads us to the infamous Secrets and Sins game.
Oh God, this game.
Cheryl's twisted version of Truth or Dare, where she forces public confessions under the guise of owning our truths. It's brutal. It's truly designed to dismantle order and unleash pure, unadulterated chaos in the lives of everyone present.
This game is a brilliant, albeit incredibly cruel narrative device. It forces characters to confront their hidden lives in front of their peers, stripping away their facades and exposing the hypocrisies, vulnerabilities, and dark secrets that define so many residents of Riverdale.
Yeah, it's like group therapy gone wrong.
It's less about truth and more about power, about wielding information as a weapon to control and damage others. It's a public execution of reputations.
And the revelations just keep coming, hitting harder and harder. First, Cheryl makes a direct hit at Veronica with the accusation about defiling Archie in a closet.
Low blow, Cheryl.
Then she levels a very serious accusation that Hiram, from prison, illegally purchased the drive-in land, something Veronica's own investigation had already confirmed. These initial jabs are just setting the stage.
These initial accusations immediately establish the malicious, targeted intent behind the game. They're calculated to wound and to expose uncomfortable truths, linking personal transgressions to larger criminal enterprises and demonstrating Cheryl's keen ability to zero in on others' weaknesses and their family's vulnerabilities. She's not playing around.
Veronica, however, doesn't back down. She unleashes a brutal counter-accusation, hitting Cheryl right where it hurts, with the deeply disturbing, almost unthinkable accusation of twincest.
Whoa. Okay, Veronica went there.
She details how Cheryl loved Jason in ways that a sister shouldn't love a brother, and that as he got older, Jason started to think it was strange, unnatural, so he chose Polly over her.
That's dark.
And then Veronica goes for the jugular, implying Cheryl shot him between the eyes with one of her father's many hunting rifles. It's a shocking, deeply personal, and truly devastating attack that makes you question everything about their relationship.
This twincest accusation is the ultimate weaponization of Cheryl's profound grief and attachment to Jason. Whether truly factual or just a cruel fabrication, it's designed to inflict maximum emotional damage, and it absolutely lands.
Yeah, it landed hard.
It's a truly disturbing jab that perhaps inadvertently forces us to question the true, almost obsessive nature of Cheryl and Jason's bond, and how far Cheryl might go if she felt truly betrayed or replaced. It brings a new, darker motive into play for Jason's murder.
And the hits keep coming. Dilton Doily, the quiet, unassuming kid,
Dilton, out of nowhere.
reveals seeing Mrs. Grundy's car at Sweetwater River the day Jason went missing, and links it directly to Archie being there.
Uh-oh. Grundy again.
He specifically notes Mrs. Grundy's quick departure. This reopens a previously resolved storyline that had been swept under the rug, making us wonder what else was covered up.
This is a critical detail, reintroducing a potentially significant piece of the murder puzzle that had been conveniently dismissed.
Exactly.
Dilton's testimony, coming from such an unexpected and seemingly innocent source, adds immense weight to the idea that Mrs. Grundy's presence at the river might not have been as innocent as it seemed. It casts Archie's initial evasiveness in a much darker light, suggesting a more complex web of secrets around the river that day.
Chuck, of course, can't resist piling on Archie.
Of course not.
Claiming he was banging a teacher, has serious mommy issues, and is a mediocre musician overnight because of it. It's a cruel, calculated character assassination designed to tear down Archie's self-esteem and public image.
Chuck's insults are expertly crafted to strip Archie of his confidence and publicly shame him, connecting his romantic choices and his burgeoning musical aspirations to deeper psychological issues.
Yeah, hitting all the sore spots.
It's a targeted attack meant to dismantle his self-worth and expose his vulnerabilities, particularly those stemming from his family dynamics. He aims for total public discrediting.
But the most impactful revelation, undoubtedly, comes from Chuck, when he turns his attention back to Betty.
Here it comes.
He details her actions during the Chuck shaming incident. Dressing like a hooker in a black wig, drugging and handcuffing him in the jacuzzi, forcing him to confess, and her delusion of being Polly.
Just lays it all out there.
Yeah.
Horrifying.
He explicitly states Jughead knew about it, thereby implicating him too. This is the ultimate public humiliation for Betty, confirming her deepest fears.
This expose of Dark Betty is the ultimate public humiliation for her. It confirms her deepest, most terrifying fears about her own unstable psyche and brings her hidden, violent impulses into the public eye.
Yeah, there's no hiding it now.
It shatters the illusion of the perfect girl next door, for good. The fact that Jughead knew and seemingly condoned adds another layer of public judgment and makes him complicit in the eyes of others, further isolating Betty in her shame and fear. It's a moment that irrevocably changes how the town perceives Betty.
The fallout from all of this is immense. Jughead's rage boils over as he forcefully expels the party crashers.
Understandably.
Archie is filled with shame, feeling like he can never look anyone in the eye again. Veronica is fearful of the accusations against her father, knowing they hold a kernel of truth. And Betty is left completely raw and vulnerable, her deepest secrets laid bare for all to see.
The damage is done.
This game isn't just about gossip, it's a weapon. Every secret revealed is a direct hit, designed to inflict maximum damage. But it also serves a crucial purpose for us as listeners, connecting dots and recontextualizing past events, like the Miss Grundy's secret and Betty's darkness, pushing the mystery forward.
The game achieved its twisted purpose, shattering the fragile peace and exposing the deep-seated darkness and hypocrisy within Riverdale. The public nature of these revelations ensures they will have lasting, perhaps irreparable consequences, fundamentally altering the characters' reputations and relationships. It's a masterstroke in escalating the season's tensions, revealing that beneath the veneer of small-town charm, Riverdale is a viper's nest of secrets and resentments.
So looking ahead to the final 3 episodes, do these public secrets offer new motives or suspects for Jason's murder? Is the twincest accusation against Cheryl a real lead, or just a cruel jab that perhaps holds some uncomfortable kernel of truth about her intense, unhealthy attachment to Jason?
The twincest accusation, while an emotional and deeply disturbing attack, cannot be entirely dismissed given the Blossom family's eccentricities and Cheryl's almost obsessive bond with Jason.
True, they are. Unique.
It forces a reevaluation of Cheryl's intent, perhaps unhealthy attachment to her brother, and whether a perceived betrayal related to Polly could have driven her to an extreme, violent act. It certainly adds a new, unsettling, and highly personal layer to the motive pool, making Cheryl a more complex and potentially dangerous character.
And which of these exposed secrets will have lasting consequences beyond the immediate drama of the party? Will Dilton's Mrs. Grundy sighting, previously glossed over, become relevant to the larger murder investigation?
It has to, right?
Perhaps hinting at a wider conspiracy or cover-up involving Archie or even other adults?
Dilton's seemingly minor detail about Mrs. Grundy has the potential to blow open a previously closed chapter in the investigation.
Yeah.
If the police, or a more astute investigator like Betty, revisits that lead, it could implicate Archie more deeply, or reveal Grundy's true involvement at the river, linking a seemingly separate, scandalous storyline directly back to Jason's murder. It could expose a wider web of adult secrets and lies.
Finally, how will these public shames affect Archie, Betty, and Veronica in the remaining episodes? Will Dark Betty be used as a tool by the killer, exploiting her vulnerabilities?
Possibly.
Or as a weapon that Betty herself might employ in her quest for truth, leaning into her darker impulses?
Their public shaming creates immediate and profound vulnerabilities. Archie's reputation is certainly damaged, which could lead him to become more isolated, desperate, or reckless in his actions.
Yeah, Archie might spiral.
For Betty, the exposure of Dark Betty could lead to further psychological distress, but it also means she no longer has to hide this part of herself. She might choose to harness it, using her intensity, impulsiveness, and willingness to delve into the grotesque to push boundaries in the investigation.
So embrace the darkness.
Making her a more unpredictable and potentially formidable force. Veronica, too, will be driven further in her quest for truth about her family after seeing her father's crimes publicly confirmed.
Let's shift our focus to F.P. Jones, because this episode significantly deepens his involvement in the central murder mystery.
Oh, definitely. FP steps into the spotlight,
revealing a complex network of connections, not just to the Lodge family, but even to Alice Cooper. It seems everyone in Riverdale has a secret past, and FP is right in the thick of it.
This is a truly pivotal moment for FP, where his motivations become much clearer and far more sinister. His presence at the party, especially after his earlier refusal, does show a flicker of desire to connect with his son. But his true motivations are often shrouded, and his interactions with other characters here are far more telling about his hidden agenda.
Absolutely. Despite FP initially declining, Betty's persistent invitation, her earnest desire to do something special for Jughead, ultimately brings him to the party.
Betty, the unlikely bridge builder,
He observes Jughead's friends, and Jughead immediately corrects him, saying, "I don't," which highlights their perpetually strained yet undeniably present father-son relationship. It's a brief, poignant moment amidst the chaos.
His appearance, however brief and initially reluctant, signals his growing importance in the unfolding narrative. While he claims to be there for Jughead, his subsequent actions and conversations clearly reveal a much more calculating presence,
Yeah, he's working angles.
suggesting he's using the social gathering as a strategic opportunity to gather intelligence or further his own murky agenda. He's not there for the cake.
And this leads us directly to Joaquin.
Joaquin, Kevin's serpent boyfriend.
He's not just Kevin's boyfriend. He's explicitly identified as a Southside serpent, immediately linking him to F.P. Jones and that entire subculture that we've only just begun to understand.
This connection is absolutely crucial. It means the serpents are not just a background element of Riverdale's underbelly. They are actively integrated into the town's social fabric and, crucially, into its most guarded secrets.
Wow.
Joaquin acts as a direct, almost unwitting bridge between the ostensibly separate worlds of the North Side and South Side, effectively making the serpents an intelligence network operating within the core group of characters. Kevin's naive relationship with Joaquin makes him a conduit to this world.
And this is where it gets really interesting. FP directly tasks Joaquin with finding out what Hiram Lodge's daughter Veronica is saying about her father being connected to Jason's murder.
Okay, direct orders.
FP explicitly states, quite ominously, "Hiram and I had some business."
Boom. There it is. The smoking gun comment.
The serpents are no longer just background players, they're actively involved in gathering information, and Joaquin is a direct conduit. FP's explicit business with Hiram Lodge is a massive, flashing red flag, especially when he's directly asking for intel on Hiram and Jason's murder.
This is a bombshell confirmation. FP's explicit instruction to Joaquin not only confirms a direct, prior, and clearly illicit relationship between FP and Hiram,
Definitely illicit.
but immediately implicates both of them in whatever shady dealings led to Hiram's arrest and, by chilling extension, potentially Jason's murder. The serpents under FP's guidance are now an active, organized force in the investigation, potentially even a more effective one than the official police. His comment about, "These kids are more on the ball than the sheriff," underscores their alternative, often more efficient, intelligence-gathering methods and their deep roots in the town's hidden networks.
Then we have the incredibly tense confrontation between FP and Alice Cooper.
Oh, this is good. Sparks flying.
Alice, in her self-appointed block captain role, attempts to assert her North Side authority, ordering FP out of her neighborhood. But FP isn't deterred by her posturing.
No, FP doesn't back down.
He delivers a pointed, almost venomous retort. "Don't act so high and mighty, Alice. You may not live on the South Side anymore, you may not dress like you're from the South Side, but we both know the truth. Snakes don't shed their skin so easily."
Whoa. Okay, Alice has a South Side past with FP.
Right. That's the huge implication.
This raises a profoundly important question. What exactly is Alice's history with the South Side and FP? This isn't just a casual jab. It's a direct implication of a deep, potentially compromising connection that Alice has been desperately trying to bury.
Absolutely trying to bury.
It hints at the idea that many characters in Riverdale have shed their pasts and reinvented themselves, but those pasts are catching up to them, and in Alice's case, it's particularly damning. This exchange strongly suggests a shared hidden past between Alice and FP, a history she desperately wants to conceal, likely involving the Southside serpents or other illicit activities.
So as we hurdle towards the season finale, the questions around FP Jones are paramount. Is he a key player in Jason's murder, perhaps even the killer?
Could be.
Or is he being manipulated by Hiram, acting as a pawn in a larger, more complex scheme? His admitted business with Hiram and his direct interest in Jason's murder are highly, highly suspicious.
FP's active role as an informant, his secret business with Hiram High Lodge, and his undeniable knowledge of the Lodge family's machinations place him firmly in the frame as a potential accomplice, a direct participant, or even the orchestrator of Jason's murder. The critical question becomes whether he's acting under coercion, driven by financial desperation, seeking personal gain, or if he's being used as a pawn in a larger, more intricate scheme involving the Lodge and Blossom families. His motives are deeply ambiguous.
How will the serpents and Joaquin's intel gathering affect the murder investigation? Will Joaquin's loyalty ultimately be to FP, to his boyfriend Kevin?
Poor Kev.
Or will he finally act in his own self-interest, potentially exposing both sides and creating an even bigger mess?
Joaquin's position as a serpent and Kevin's boyfriend puts him in an incredibly difficult, triangulated loyalty bind.
Totally.
His intel, shared with FP, could inadvertently expose Kevin's father, Sheriff Keller, or further implicate FP himself. His choices in the coming episodes will significantly impact the direction of the investigation, potentially leading to a rupture in his relationship with Kevin or the serpents themselves, forcing him to choose sides in a very dangerous game.
And finally, will Alice Cooper's Southside origins be revealed in full, and how will that connect to the ongoing mysteries?
It feels like it has to, right? That comet can't just hang there.
Could her past also link to the Blossom Lodge feud, perhaps as a participant or a witness to their earlier, darker dealings, explaining her intense desire to control Betty's narrative?
Alice's past is almost certainly a key, unresolved thread that will unravel as the season concludes. FP's pointed remarks suggest a history of deep involvement with the South Side, perhaps even with the serpents themselves, or some unsavory dealings that she's vehemently tried to distance herself from.
Right.
If her past ties into the Blossom Lodge feud, perhaps as a direct participant or a crucial witness to their earlier, more illicit arrangements, it could explain much of her intensity, her control issues, and her deep-seated desire to protect her daughters from the town's darker, inescapable elements.
Let's turn our attention to Archie, who really finds himself at a personal crossroads in The Lost Weekend.
Yeah, Archie's got a lot going on, separate from the murder for once.
His journey in this episode is less about the murder mystery and more about his own emotional maturity and grappling with his evolving identity, his fractured family, and his confusing romantic entanglements.
This arc for Archie is indeed less about the murder and more about his profound emotional maturation. The impending divorce, the secrets kept from him by his parents, and his deeply confused reactions speak to a young man grappling with the imperfections of his parents and the raw pain of their separation.
Yeah.
His drunk dial shows a desperate, almost childlike wish to fix things, even if he doesn't fully understand why he wants them fixed.
The Andrews divorce drama reaches a head in this episode. Fred is determined to finalize the divorce, wanting to rip the Band-Aid off, despite Archie's persistent questions.
Fred's ready to move on. Seems like it.
He explains that ending things with Hermione was not a good idea, but the true revelation for Archie is discovering that his mom moved out 2 years ago and he was kept entirely in the dark.
2 years? Wow. That's a long time to hide something like that.
This highlights a significant, almost devastating communication breakdown and betrayal of trust within his seemingly perfect family.
The revelation of his parents' 2-year separation that was hidden from him isn't just a betrayal. It's a seismic shock to Archie's entire understanding of his stable, idealized family unit.
Totally shakes his foundation.
It underscores a recurring damaging theme in Riverdale. The parents' protective instincts often cause more profound damage than the truth itself. For Archie, this discovery shatters his naive worldview, forcing him to grapple with the uncomfortable truth that even his normal family is fractured, secret-keeping, and fallible.
Yeah.
This kind of foundational betrayal often manifests in characters seeking stability in unhealthy ways or lashing out, which we've already seen glimpses of in Archie's often misguided romantic pursuits.
In a moment of drunken, almost desperate emotional honesty at the party, Archie makes a charged call to Fred, impulsively telling him not to sign the divorce paper.
Oh, Archie, bad move.
But he immediately regrets it, expressing his confusion. It's not like I even want them to get back together. It's a classic example of him acting on raw emotion without fully understanding his own desires or the deeper implications.
He just wants something to be fixed. Anything.
The episode then ends with a significant development. Fred and Archie's mom, Mary, returning home, signaling a new, potentially complicated chapter for the Andrews family.
His drunk dial is a profound cry for a family he never truly had, or perhaps the idealized family he believes he lost. It reveals a deep-seated longing for stability and an unconscious desire to fix what's broken, even if he consciously believes it's beyond repair. It's the impulsive act of a child desperately trying to exert control over something completely out of his hands. Mary's return is a direct consequence of this, setting the stage for a forced familial reckoning that Archie will inevitably be at the very center of, whether he's ready or not.
On the romantic front, Archie continues to struggle, reinforcing his pattern of instability. Valerie definitively rejects him again,
Poor Valerie. She's had enough.
calling him a hot mess, which unfortunately reinforces his own self-doubt and his tendency to sabotage his relationships.
Valerie's candid assessment cuts through Archie's self-deception and highlights his tendency to prioritize his own chaotic impulses and emotional needs over the realities and requirements of a healthy relationship.
Yeah, she calls him out.
It demonstrates a clear pattern of emotional immaturity that he consistently struggles to overcome, leaving a trail of hurt feelings and missed opportunities in his wake.
But then we see Veronica comfort Archie after his confession about wrecking things.
Ah, a Varchi moment.
They share a moment of genuine connection, both acknowledging their shared sense of being messed up. Veronica's poignant thought, what if I had left Riverdale with my mom? Would things be? Would I be better off? Mirrors Archie's own deep questions about his choices and his sense of belonging.
They kind of understand each other's messed upness.
Right. And Chuck's cool jab about Archie having serious mommy issues subtly links his romantic troubles to his unresolved family dynamics. So what does this all mean? Archie is clearly at a crossroads.
Definitely.
He's craving stability and genuine connection, but seems to repeatedly sabotage himself. His emotional honesty with Veronica and her mirroring his feelings hints at a deeper, more authentic bond developing. One built on shared vulnerability rather than just surface-level attraction or fleeting passion.
This shared moment between Archie and Veronica is critical. It moves their relationship beyond mere flirtation or physical attraction to a place of genuine emotional intimacy, recognizing their mutual brokenness and their shared sense of being outsiders in their own complicated lives.
Yeah.
Chuck's comment, while cruel and intended as an insult, inadvertently identifies a core psychological issue for Archie. His unresolved longing for a stable maternal figure and an idealized family structure profoundly influences his romantic pursuits, often leading him to seek comfort or validation in inappropriate or volatile relationships. It's a harsh truth.
Looking forward to the final 3 episodes, how will Mary's presence impact the Andrews household? Will Archie finally get the answers he needs about his family's past?
Maybe, or maybe more secrets. It is Riverdale.
Or will more secrets emerge? Perhaps even something from his parents' past that reveals something relevant to the larger Riverdale mysteries.
Mary's return promises a period of significant adjustment and potential upheaval for the Andrews household. Her presence could bring much-needed stability and some long-overdue answers for Archie, allowing him to process the hidden truths of his parents' separation.
That would be nice for him.
However, it could also unearth more secrets from his parents' past, potentially linking their history to the broader generational conflicts and hidden crimes that truly define Riverdale. Her perspective as an outsider returning to the fold could also provide fresh insights into the town's darker, more insidious elements.
And what about Archie's romantic path? With Valerie definitively out of the picture and a clear, vulnerable connection with Veronica, how will their relationship develop?
It seems like Varchi's endgame for season 1, right?
Feels that way. Will his mommy issues be explored further as a driver for his choices, perhaps pushing him to seek validation in complex or even dangerous ways, repeating old patterns?
The romantic path for Archie is now firmly pointed toward Veronica, but their relationship will undoubtedly be tested by his unresolved emotional issues and the external chaos of Riverdale. His mommy issues could indeed lead him to seek comfort or validation in ways that complicate his journey, making his character growth intrinsically intertwined with his ability to heal from past family traumas and break free from these destructive patterns. It will be a true test of whether he can move beyond his impulses.
Finally, will these personal dramas force Archie to mature and find his own sense of control amidst the chaos, moving beyond simply reacting to external events?
That's the hope, isn't it? For Archie to finally grow up a bit.
Will he finally begin to forge his own path rather than being constantly pulled in different directions by his desires, his friends, and the expectations placed upon him?
Archie's journey through these profound personal trials is his true coming-of-age story in Riverdale. He has consistently been a reactive character, swept along by the currents of the town's drama and his own impulses.
Yeah, very reactive.
However, these profound emotional challenges, particularly the shattering of his idealized family, could force him to become more proactive, to define his own values, and to exert a genuine sense of agency over his life, rather than just being a passenger. His choices now will define the man he becomes. #outro.
As we wrap up this deep dive into The Lost Weekend, it's abundantly clear that this episode is a pivotal turning point, cranking up the tension on all fronts as we race towards the season finale.
Absolutely. Everything feels accelerated now.
We've seen the Lodge Blossom feud escalate from a simple rivalry into something far more sinister and generational. Jughead and Betty grappling with fundamental differences and deeply painful public secrets, the fallout from Secrets and Sins leaving everyone exposed, and F.P. Jones firmly and suspiciously entrenched in the murder mystery.
This episode vividly demonstrates Jughead's opening narration about control versus chaos. None of these characters truly have control. Their carefully constructed lives are being ripped apart by revelations and betrayals, forcing them to confront harsh truths.
So true.
This raises an important question. In a world where order is truly an illusion, where the veneer of normalcy is shattered, how do these characters choose to react? Do they fight the chaos, try to impose their own order, or do they ultimately succumb to it? And more chillingly, does someone deliberately create chaos to mask their own actions, to hide a deeper, more profound truth?
Ooh, good question. So, as we race towards the season 1 finale, here's a thought to chew on as you wait for the next episode. If everyone in Riverdale is hiding something, and everyone has a past they'd rather keep buried, a secret so dark it could shatter their world,
And they all do.
then what kind of truth will ultimately surface when the investigation finally reaches its climax, and who will be left standing when the dust settles? You've been well informed, now stay curious.
Okay, it does not concern me.